Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on Thursday as we go over our last week, the USMLE prep question that we had posted on our social media pages. Like always, we're joined by the wonderful Dr. Roland Singh. Hi, Roland. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. One more time. One
Yeah,
last time, right?
you have one more left before you leave us for residency in New York. Are you looking forward to that?
I definitely am. Definitely will miss working with you. We have three wonderful new counselors to drive you up the wall. So leaving you in good hands.
There you go. So do you want to hop into this week's question?
Sure, absolutely. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Megan. Today we're talking about acid-base disorders secondary to mountain climbing. Today's the 13th of May. This topic, acid-base, is traditionally a little bit more challenging. What we're going through today will be very superficial. At the same time, I want you guys to really have the tools and resources to look at this on your own. At the very end of today, I will share the new counselor's email. So if you have any questions or don't get it or want to kind of run through it again, please feel free to contact us anytime. So once again, thank you all for joining. We have the wonderful Megan, as always. My name is Roland, and here we go. For today's objectives, we're going to review the question of the week, or every 2 weeks, I guess. We're going to look at the acid-base disorders and give you a very cursory algorithm of how to go down it. We'll look at the question again, and hopefully after today's webinar, you'll be able to look at the question and figure it out on your own. So here is the question. We have a 34-year-old male coming for an annual wellness exam. He says that he's healthy and wants to go to Tanzania and climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
That's Tanzania.
What did I say? Tanzania?
Yeah.
Tasmania? Tasmania near New Zealand, whatever, near the devils and everything. Mount Kilimanjaro. Is that okay, Miss Megan? Kilimanjaro?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. He is a personal fitness trainer, so mazel tov to him. The patient has asthma during childhood. However, he has not needed to use an inhaler as an adult. He takes no medications other than a daily multivitamin. Okay. So physical exam shows a healthy, muscular man. Healthy and muscular. Patient has never climbed a mountain before. However, he's been training for the past 2 months. Okay. During his initial ascent on the mountain, which of the following is a possible acid-base disturbance that may occur? Okay, so let's kind of go through the normal acid-base physiology. And once again, I'm both Megan as my guinea pig. So what's going on? We're going to skip over a lot of the nitty-gritty. Once again, a very superficial breakdown of acid-base today. But long story short, I want you to focus on this right here. So secret of life, homeostasis, it balances across all things. So we have H2O plus CO2 goes into carbonic acid, which goes into hydrogen ions in HCO3 or bicarb, right? So we're skipping over the carbonic anhydrase enzymes. We're skipping over a lot of material, which is looking at this right here. So like these two areas, everything should be theoretically equal. At the same time, if this equation over here is low, if this ion is low, then everything will shift towards the left, and vice versa. If this is low, it'll shift towards the right. If this is high, it'll shift towards the left. So once again, everything should be equal. We're going to break down the body into two parts, the lungs on the left and the kidneys on the right. So the lungs will be in charge of the whole CO2. Right? We breathe in O2, we give off CO2. The carbon in CO2 is coming through cells, through metabolism. The kidneys are in charge of bicarb. My organic chemistry professor is going to kill me, physiology professor is going to kill me, but once again, very basic. If you take away nothing else, look at this equation for now. Okay, cool. So when CO2 is removed by the lungs, so CO2 is removed, basically you're breathing it out, it shifts the equation towards the left, right? So this goes down, everything shifts towards the left. Keep that in mind, right? So we'll focus on the left side for today's question. I've also put down the normal pH PCO2, O2, and bicarb. For those of you who are studying for step 1, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who are looking at this for the very first time, I'll put a link at the very end for you to kind of learn what I'm talking about. So, Mount Kilimanjaro is very high in Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Tanzania, thank you. Highest freestanding mountain in the world, really, really high. Why is that important? Ms. Megan, what do you think about the amount of oxygen way up high? High or low?
It gets more compressed up there, so it makes it harder for you to breathe.
Hard to breathe, absolutely. So the patient's going up the mountain. He's a healthy, muscular man who's a physical therapist, yoga instructor. He's healthy, right? But he's going up the mountain.
He's finding his zen.
What's that?
He's finding his zen.
Yeah, all about the zen, looking for the wise man in the mountain, secret of life. But as he goes up, the amount of oxygen is actually low. Right? So the higher up you go, the lower oxygen there is up there, which is why people who climb Mount Everest, they have to bring the oxygen canisters with them. Mm-hmm. So the amount of oxygen as the elevation goes up, goes down, right? So to compensate, the patient's respiratory rate, or how quickly he breathes, goes up or down, Ms. Megan?
His respiratory rate goes higher because he's looking to find the oxygen, but it's not really there.
Exactly. So patient's breathing faster, but there's not enough O2, right? At the same time, even though he's breathing faster respiratory rate, he's blowing off CO2. So he's releasing CO2. So the amount of CO2 going into his body overall is decreasing, right? So CO2 is actually an acid right here. H2CO3 is the acid. So if the patient is releasing acid to his lungs, he's becoming acidic or alkalotic?
Acidic.
So he's getting rid of the acid through the lungs. So his body is becoming alkalotic. Right?
I know I can't pronounce that word.
Hey, me, my Tasmania, whatever.
There you go. We just swap back and forth.
Back and forth. Super formal webinar as always, right? So the patient's releasing all the acid through his CO2. So the patient's body is becoming alkalotic. So going back to this question, is he acidic? Was he alkalotic? Is alkalotic. So looking at the question again, you know it's alkalosis, right? The patient's releasing all the acidity, so it's either C or D alone.
Yeah, we had a lot of people responding on social media saying they believed that the correct answer was D. How are they?
Perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. The correct answer is D, but then we know it's alkalotic, but is it respiratory or metabolic, right? So respiratory in nutshell involves CO2. Respiratory involves the respiratory system, the lungs as a whole. Metabolic are more the kidneys involving bicarb. So what is the root cause of this patient's issue? The fact that he's higher up, he's becoming hypoxic, low O2. His respiratory centers kick into overdrive. He's breathing quickly, very rapidly, blowing off the CO2. By blowing off all the acid in the form of CO2, carbonic acid, he's becoming alkalotic. But the root cause is a respiratory issue. So overall, the correct answer, respiratory alkalosis. Once again, looking at the patient as a whole, he's blowing out CO2, becoming alkalotic. Is a respiratory issue in nature, so therefore respiratory alkalosis. So I've taken the liberty of adding this link. The first link is for a YouTube site, which really breaks it down from a very great way to start off your learning of acid-base disorders. It can be a little bit challenging, especially when you go to the metabolic section. For those of you watching who, once again, we're going to do this really quickly, I do recommend watching this link first just to get a rudimentary understanding. If you have any questions, email us. The USMLE Counselors of St. James will be happy to help you out. So thank you for a very complicated question boiled down to, 10 minutes. Once again, super informal, really hoping that this will at least drive your curiosity to do and learn a little bit more. And thank you.
Thank you so much for going through all that. It's good to break things down so that you know, the rudimentary of where everything goes and how everything works and things like that.
So thank you, everyone. It's been a privilege and the honor. Hopefully the next counselor can take it to the next level, and have a great Thursday.
Yes, have a great Thursday. Also, if you have a specific area that you want our questions to cover, say more cardio or neuro or things like that, please comment in the comment section below, and let us know. We'll try to find questions that gear more to your interests and things like that. Great. Bye, everyone.